And I guess let's get into the old IGPX.
Yeah, I think we've, obviously talked a lot of IGPX, which, for people who might not know, is the only Toonami original. It was a co-production with Production IG and Bandai, and it premiered, I believe, in 2005.
November 2005 is what I have written down.
Okay, sure.
If I wrote that down correctly, it's correct.
I'll take it.
And then the micro series was
a year before that.
03.
Yeah. So IGPX grew out of the IGPX micro series, which was something we produced with Production IG on a whim and was our total immersion event that year. Basically, it was just getting too expensive to do CGI, and we still wanted to do something, and an opportunity came up with our friends at Production IG. And so we basically took one 20-minute pilot and cut it up into pieces and aired it over the course of a week as a total immersion event. And people really liked it. So then we went back to Production IG and Cartoon Network, and we formed a production committee and made our first Toonami original, which premiered, as Gil said, in 2005, I guess. And that ran for 2 seasons of 13. And then was gone until we aired it like last year, I believe. We aired it for a while.
Yeah, maybe 2 years ago, but somewhere in the past.
So that's the history of IGPX, and we've talked a lot about it before. So really, for me, the reason we're talking about it in this episode is that the music of IGPX is the one thing everyone, like, even if people don't like the show, people are like, oh, the music was great. So for me, I think the music of IGPX is sort of worth talking about on our musical episode. It makes sense to me.
I agree.
So we were trying to do a lot of things differently with IGPX, some more successful than others. But one of the things that was successful was that I had a very firm feeling that somewhat Hongo-san disagreed with me about, but not too much.
What's that guy now?
Hongo-san, the director, he kind of wanted orchestral music and classic Japanese anime type of screaming guitar music, that kind of thing. And I hate that. It's just something that I feel is a very tired cliche. Even to this day, if you watch an action cartoon or even an anime, they will go often with orchestral or they'll go with guitars, like wow, wow. That means action. It's like guitars. And I listened to plenty of guitar-based music, but I felt like, man, it would be nice to have a show that used a different kind of music, just because, dear God, everyone's using this one kind of music. So at the time, we had a relationship, a very good one and we still do, with the label.
And then it all went to shit.
Yeah, with the label Ninja Tune, a UK-based electronic music label. They also had hip-hop. They have a lot of different types of artists, jazz. And we formed a partnership with them for the show. So basically, I got the rights to use a whole bunch of Ninja Tune music in the show. So the way the show was created was a little weird. Basically, we had this whole Ninja Tune library, and we gave it to Production IG. They then used it if they wanted to, and if not, they had sort of orchestral stings that were pre-existing library music that they just bought, or like guitar music. They had a theme song made by like a pop group for the show, and they had an ending credit song made, of course, because that's like, still tradition to this day for anime. I hated both of those, so we cut those out immediately and made our... We knew we were going to make an American Open and that would need to be different from the Japanese Open. That was sort of something everybody understood. So we would get the episodes in from them that would be rough mixes, and they would use the music they wanted. And at first they kind of tried to use a lot of the Ninja Tune music, I think, because, to make us happy. And then as they went on, they used less and less, or they just used the same stings. And I just think they didn't care about it that much. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal for them. They were like...
It wasn't important to them in the beginning and didn't become more so as the process went along.
Yeah, they were focused on other elements. And so, for us, the audio mix in general was really important in the music. So we went through and stripped out the music in every single episode and completely rescored every episode with Ninja Tune music, and then remixed it, adding tons of sound effects. And I think that's why our version of the show I prefer to the Japanese version. They came out simultaneously, so there's no true version, but I, of course, prefer that one. So, other than the Ninja Tune music, there's only one song that's not Ninja Tune that we had to license specifically, and it's because I was hearing that song when I saw a particular scene, and come hell or high water, I wanted to score that scene to this song. So, that song is by an artist named Ulrich Schnaus, and he, fantastic name, and he is sort of he makes kind of shoegaze music, but with keyboards, and then he moved into guitars. He's got 4 or 5 albums. So there's a song from his album, A Strangely Isolated Place, and when hearing the song, I just envisioned it soundtracking the scene where Takashi and Liz, at the end of the series...
Spoiler alert.
That's Gil's favorite phrase. At the end of the series, where they finally kiss, which, again, was a bit of a contentious thing in IGPX, because Hongo didn't necessarily think they should kiss, because, again, not most anime, but a lot of anime, the love is unrequited between 2 characters. There's a lot of, like, crushing with no resolution, and it's not as much of it's sort of to do with Japanese culture, too, and just the ingrained politeness. You're not necessarily going to see the same American approach to romance in general. So he was sort of like, oh, no, they're not going to kiss or anything like that. And I was like, yes, they are. We're going to build a relationship between them that will culminate at the end, and that's how it's going to go. And then eventually he saw my point of view and agreed, and he was happy with it. So I always envisioned this scene of them kissing for like a year to this song, and it took us a long time to get the rights. So I'm going to show this scene so you guys can see what I'm talking about, and then we'll come back and talk a little more.
Well, I'm here. So you gonna tell me what this is all about?
Sorry, I didn't mean to impose on you or anything.
Whatever, man. I'm here, right? So you gonna tell me what you want? You must have really screwed up if you're this tongue-tied.
No, it's nothing like that.
Well, if you got something to say, then just spit it out already, you big wuss!
I wanted to know if you'd go out with me. I'm trying to ask you out on a date, Liz.
I'm speaking! I heard what you said. I'm not deaf. Confucius said, it's shameful for a person's actions not to match their words.
Does that mean yes?
No, that means yes. Oh, hey, where's Liz and Takashi? I don't know. I haven't seen them.
Everyone, we've got an announcement. I just asked Liz out, and believe it or not, she actually said yes.
All right, that's enough. You can let go of my hand now.
I hate to tell you this, Liz, but I am never gonna let go of you, baby.
Ta-da!
And then she just kills Takashi, and it all fades to black.
Yeah, it was just a sweet, goofy scene, the way they did it, very teenager, and it just felt like that music, it could use like a sort of John Hughes type 80s feel to me, so I liked that song. And that's the only fun fact, in our version, that's the only Ninja Tune song, or that isn't a song Toonami owned, because obviously the ending credits are a Tommy Guerrero song.
Right. For the Japanese version, how many Ninja Tune tracks do you think they ended up?
They maybe used 10 different ones, 15 different ones.
And how many do you think total are in the U.S.?
100 or 200. I mean, like a ton. I mean, we used there's probably 20 songs per episode in a 22-minute episode. I mean, in some of them, you know, so it's at least 15 songs on average. Sarah Hardy, our editor, and I would go through and rescore everything, and we were always laughing at the end when we had to list all the songs. We'd always say, like, good Lord. And we did create, like, some songs became a character's theme. Like River has a theme song, which is a particular song. Andre has a theme song that's a particular song. Takashi has a victory song and a sad song. Team Satomi has a victory song. You know, we ended up creating themes that sort of came back. So it ended up being sort of like a score.
Like an actual score process.
Yeah, because it was all instrumental music. And my strong feeling, I don't dislike library music, but my strong feeling is that musicians who have to make music for a living and put out albums and tour, put more, you know, their music is going to be inherently a little bit more compelling than a guy who's literally making a song to get some money to score a commercial.
And making 50 of those.
Right, and again, there is good needle drop. It's just not, to me, I wanted to use music from artists who had albums and careers as musicians. We used a lot of Amon Tobin, probably the most used artist. We used a lot of Hex Static, and we used a lot of DJ Food. When we put this show out, DJ Food had a new album out. It had been their first in a long time, or Cold Cut, excuse me. Cold Cut is a spin-off of DJ Food. They share members. So Cold Cut had a new album at the time, and at the time they had a hit single, Everything Is Under Control, which we used in, I think, the finale of a particular episode. I think it was 12 or 13. And between seasons, just to sort of keep things, you know, remind people that the show was coming back and then was on, Sarah cut a music video to the Cold Cut song, Everything Is Under Control. And I think it's one of Sarah's best editing jobs she's ever done. But she basically just used all the footage we had at the time and cut together this awesome music video. And it was at the time like the longest music video we've put on. But it just felt like it really worked, and Cold Cut really loved it, and it was totally something that kind of made everybody happy. And I don't think anyone necessarily cared when it aired. Like, this is before social media, so I have no idea if anyone gave a shit when we aired it, but we liked it.
If you gave a shit, let us know on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Toonami. And if not, then...
You know, don't watch.
Don't.
So this is another song from IGPX by Cold Cut called Everything Is Under Control. This is Sarah's music video.
Well, guys, our big day is finally here.
Give it up, Ricky. You'll never beat me out there.
We're all in this together, and if we want to be champions, we work as a team.
Get out there and destroy them.
Sir! Yes, sir!
Just focus on winning. Nothing else.
I believe it's time to take the gloves off and rip these kids apart.
Team Satomi, let's win!
You got a long way to go, man.
Don't go down yet, kid. It's just getting fun.
You think you were gonna get away?
Step aside, son. It's my turn.
Big mistake, dude.
Watch out, Takashi. It's a trap.
This is why I love the IGPX!
I got you, Takashi.
They're gonna have to do better than that.
He's definitely got style.
Let's get these guys.
Roger that.
You look really cool out there.
This is what they call a smackdown. This all happened too fast for you, rookie.
I'll take your best shot anytime you want.
Why don't you stop screaming at him and just hit him?
pretty great.
So sort of an encapsulation of season 1, really. I didn't see any season 2 footage in there. So Gil, as a person who was working at Toonami and helping us put out IGPX but didn't actually produce the show, what's your any thoughts about the music or anything other than it's awesome?
Yeah, I mean, I just remember at the time being like, Jesus Christ, how long is you going to spend in the Avid humping every single episode? And then when you saw it, you're like, oh, that was pretty well time spent. But at the time, it seemed like a totally bananas, Quixote-esque.
We have promos to make!
But yeah, I mean, I think it's obviously, IGPX, there are people who really, really like it, and then there are people who don't, and then there's people who probably fall in the middle where it's like they liked the fact that they liked aspects about it.
Right.
And I think the music and the voice acting is probably as good as you're ever going to find in any show, I would say. I don't think you're going to find much better dub work for
I
any
would agree.
show.
I mean, not everybody was awesome, but the cast of talent we had assembled was literally the best dub actors working in anime, and then
a bunch of famous people who are really good at speaking out loud.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think it was sort of ahead of its time in certain aspects, and I think maybe would have done better as an Adult Swim show than necessarily a kids show. I think there was a lot of stuff that didn't necessarily work.
Agreed.
In the kid's mind in hindsight, but we put all kinds of totally inappropriate stuff on for kids all the time, so that's not really
hard to know where that line
There's
lies.
a very sweet spot that I think we're finding, but I definitely prefer the Toonami version to the Japanese version. So, well, good job.
If you're interested in, if you haven't seen IGPX, if you're interested in seeing it, Discotek is re-releasing the entire series, both the Toonami version and the original Japanese version, and I think the English-produced Japanese version, which is the pre-edit that we did on it.
Yeah,
so
every episode had... It was
3 different versions.
Yeah,
It was the true Japanese, the Japanese English version, and
we basically had to burn the other 2 versions so they didn't accidentally get turned in and get on air. And then there were duplicates of the Toonami version. So like back when we had tapes and it was taking it up, there was like an entire wall that was just IGPX. And
it was like 100 tapes.
It's like, this is at the first season, 13 episode season, and there's 59 tapes in this room. But
yeah, so if you are interested, we don't have a release date on that, but our friend Jose, formerly of Toonami Faithful, is actually remastering them himself. So shout out to Jose for putting that work in, and it's looking great. And there'll be new special features. So we'll talk more about that. Don't worry, we'll talk more about it when it's time for that to be released.
That'll be episode 47 when we get there.
But just in terms of Toonami musical moments and thinking about music on Toonami, I think IGPX is definitely one of the places where we sort of made a mark in terms of, what we would do differently, what we do differently.
For sure.